It was not lost on us that the day after our conference, November 4th, marks the 24th anniversary of the death of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. He was assassinated at the end of a rally in support of the Oslo Accords at the Kings of Israel Square in Tel Aviv. The assassin was an Israeli ultra-nationalist, radically opposed to Rabin's peace initiative and particularly the signing of the Oslo Accords. Here is one description of that horrific event. One of those events that makes an indelible mark in your memory, the kind in which many of us here will remember exactly where we were when we heard about it and when it happened. And I quote, "Rabin's assassination was the culmination of an anti-violence rally in support of the peace process. Rabin was disparaged personally by right-wing conservatives who perceived the peace process as an attempt to forfeit the occupied territories and as a capitulation to Israel's enemies." Some of us here certainly know what it means to be disparaged and called names by the right wing. National religious conservatives and political party leaders believed that withdrawing from any Jewish land was heresy. For example, future Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Rabin's government of being, quote, "removed from Jewish tradition and Jewish values." Right-wing rabbis associated with the settlers movement prohibited territorial concessions to the Palestinians and forbade soldiers in the Israel Defense Forces from evacuating Jewish settlers under the Accords. Some rabbis even proclaimed and promoted what is called din rodef, or din rodef, based on a traditional Jewish law of self-defense against Rabin personally, arguing that the Oslo Accords would endanger Jewish lives. Rallies organized by right-wing political parties and other groups featured depictions of Rabin in a Nazi SS uniform or in the crosshairs of a gun. Protesters compared the more left-wing parties to the Nazis and Rabin to Adolf Hitler and chanted, "Rabin is a murderer, Rabin is a traitor." I'm ashamed to tell you that right here in this city, in this country, some of our Jewish papers had those same images in their materials, where Jews were being described as Nazis and traitors. And I, along with some of my colleagues in this room, called that hate speech and said it is promoting violence and something horrific is going to happen. The chief of internal security is said to have alerted Netanyahu of a plot on Rabin's life and asked him to moderate the protest rhetoric, which Netanyahu declined to do, denying there was any intention to incite violence. Rabin dismissed such right-wing protests or labeled them as chutzpah. According to various accounts, Rabin refused his request to wear a bulletproof vest and preferred not to use the armored car purchased for him. Left-wing supporters organized pro-peace rallies to support the direction Rabin wanted to take the country. And it was after one such gathering that he was assassinated. This terrible moment in Jewish history serves as a stark reminder of the power of propaganda. It is no accident that a number of Israel supporters over there and even here distort history and vilify the enemy, perpetrating Islamophobic stereotypes and promoting fear and mistrust. And on the other side of the divide, there are Israel's detractors and enemies who will not even refer to it by its name and instead call it that Zionist entity. There is no doubt that Israel faces existential threats daily. And I don't care if the JDL calls this the annual Israel Hate Fest. It is not. We would be naive to believe that Israel doesn't face existential threats. But there is also no doubt in our mind that the oppression of an entire people living under occupation must stop in order for Israel to survive, and in order to fulfill the dream described in the Proclamation of Independence of the democratic Jewish state. So JSpace is an organization that supports and celebrates Israel, and supports other organizations that do so. You can see some of their displays, and there'll be some more here tomorrow. Please take a look at the kinds of fantastic programming that is happening. I am here to tell you we are progressive Zionists. Zionists because we believe in the imperative of there being a homeland for the Jewish people. Progressive because we want our people to live in safety and security among her neighbors in peace, with full and equal human and civil rights for all her citizens and residents. As our former Consul General, who opened our first two conferences, used to say, the relationship between Israel and the diaspora should be like a good marriage. There should be honesty with each other, a genuine effort to talk about disagreements, but also a reaffirmation of love for the other partner, at the same time as recognizing their interdependence on some dimension and independence on the other. And when I see it says, like a good marriage, I'm reminded that my husband said, Karen, don't speak too long at the beginning. Nobody wants to hear a long speech. My best fan, my biggest critic. So, as you can see on our website, and I'm not going to tell you more because you can see it on our website in our printed material, JSpaceCanada supports the idea of two states for two peoples, and the active pursuit of a lasting peace agreement arrived through a negotiated settlement to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that is guided by principles of mutual recognition and respect, and reflects the legitimate rights of both peoples to self-determination, peaceful coexistence, and security. We oppose the expansion of settlements that prolong a corrosive occupation and undermine the chances for peace. At the same time, we oppose any programs that question Israel's intrinsic right to exist. Now, you may not, or you may, share our positions. Diverse opinions are to be honored and respected among all of us who have come to this conference in good faith. JSpaceCanada is a big tent open to a wide range of views and perspectives. And at this conference, we have outstanding, knowledgeable, and thoughtful speakers from across the broad spectrum. I want to say two things about that. One, we recognize that within that spectrum, there will be a range of perspectives. And secondly, the views of any one speaker or panelist do not necessarily represent the policies or positions of JSpaceCanada. Some speakers and participants are here today, and they're of the view that criticism of Israel government policy should be careful and guarded, lest it be exploited by Israel's enemies. That criticizing Israel government policies, though well-intentioned or constructive, will serve to embolden those who want to delegitimize Israel by boycotts and other tactics. While other speakers are of the view that we should speak out loudly and clearly that the occupation has been a tragedy for Israel's founding values, and that, for example, a limited boycott of goods from settlements in the West Bank may be a legitimate nonviolent protest, and that it is a free and democratic country, not hateful, and should not be prohibited, and certainly not criminalized. So you will hear that whole range of opinion. Our main goal is to have a civil, informed, educated discussion, not polemic. JSpaceCanada provides a safe space, and I might also add a brave space, to raise difficult questions and engage in respectful dialogue. We are not here to resolve the difficult issues, but we are here to reaffirm that it is appropriate to ask difficult questions and to have the courageous conversations, both within our Jewish community and between us and the wider community. And I'm going to leave the rest of my speech until another time, just to say that we do want your concrete suggestions and recommendations. We have a wide demographic, a wide age range, and speaking of age, our conference is about engagement and the next generation. The so-called old-timers in this room have spent much of their lives supporting Israel and Jewish causes, but so have the young people in this room today as well. We need their partnership, and we need and appreciate the support of our full partners. You see them there and you see them on the screens, so I'm not going to repeat them. I want to thank all of you for coming and for your support, and I do want to especially thank our Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian friends and colleagues who are participants and speakers and who have put themselves on the line to show that they support our vision for peace and the end of oppression and the quest for freedom and dignity for all. We really, really do appreciate all of your being here.